we thought we'd share with you a little boat tour. Not a hell of a lot has happened this week. Just sitting at anchor and visiting land. But yeah, we figured we're pretty far along without really showing you guys where we live. So why don't I just chase around Morgan with a camera? Come with us.
Yeah, I just had to sail away. We'll see you on some other day. I need blue water under me, so I can get my spirit free. We're heading east, we're heading west, living the life we love the best. I won't be running in the hood, I'd take you with me if I could. I won't be running in the hood, I'd take you with me if I could.
So this is the nav station. It used to be a quarter berth, quarter berth. I tried getting into that bunk numerous times just to see how well it works, and I didn't like it at all. Just because the breaker panel's right there, you can hit it with your elbows, your feet, whatever way you want to sleep. You're probably it's just gonna be in the way. So we decided to make that space more efficient. And the nav station desk used to be hanging out right here. You can see the outline of where this was. And as you came down the companionway, it was always in the way. I felt like you just kind of felt clustered. I'd still like to get rid of this if I could. But right now, we're not on that project yet. So the nav station here, I usually come in here, work on the charts, the logbook. And, anything I need on the boat is right here. We have a bookshelf back here where the manuals are and just extra books that we're not quite using right now, but are there.
That's right.
And then the books that we are using more often are right here. A main guide, a cruising guide, currents, rules of the road kind of stuff. It's all right there for quick grab. We got a first aid kit up here, bug spray, sunblock, things that are just easily quick grabbables are all right here. More guides and my cooking books and stuff like that are up here. Moose likes to hang out over here. And this used to all just be the nav station area. There used to be radio and other, equipment all right here, but we just decided to change that up. It was a lot of obsolete stuff. And we like to have our radio on deck, like our VHF radio on deck. And so we just kind of started making this into a multi-use space. We have some electronics right here for more navigation. But other than that, we don't really use it much. We just use what's on deck. And we do have a tablet, which Adam is using right now for recording, for making, more, for like a chart plotter. And we'd put that somewhere over here instead. So, but we have a barometer, we have a clock, we have weather for temperature, and just pretty much everything that we need to sail safely and happily is all over here.
Go.
Okay, next order of business is the stove and oven. It gimbals. So usually we keep the teapot on the stove the entire time. Now that I got these guards to kind of keep it from going anyplace. The skillet usually hides down below where I got the other pots. and it's propane. So you gotta like take everything out, get your little flick lighter, press the red button on the top of the stove, and then try to flick it until it lights, and then hold it for 20 seconds, and then you're all good. Then you could light the oven. Next thing is the fridge. We got a pretty deep ice box. We don't use really the bottom portion. If we do, we just put extra water down there, like water bottles. But other than that, it is pretty enough to hold everything we have. I mean, we don't get crazy about meat. We just do like a lot of fresh stuff and condiments. Other things, we got like a cereal cabinet and like crackers and snacks that go into this cabinet. Sliding doors, they can come out for, getting bigger stuff in there or cleaning. Tea and variety of drink concoctions in this cabinet. Baking in this one. And then cups and bowls and mixing cups and stuff like that, and just storage containers, and then seasonings, and that's pretty much the galley. If you come over to this side, we got silverware in this drawer, and utensils, plastic baggies and tin foil and stuff, and then like tools. Then this Moosey's area, we got his food and his wet kitty food dish and water. I got it velcroed down so it can't, slide. So far it seems to be doing pretty well on when we have some good windy days. And then his cat food is stored underneath. Cat litter, cat food, and his toys. Otherwise, it's a really weird spot to put anything. But yeah, the nav station used to be here, and we moved it there. So now this is kind of like a open space for putting extra cooking supply gear or nav stuff or whatever. Then we move into the main salon where we have the table, and it's got some neat storage compartments. Like the table opens up and you can store a bunch of different variety of things in there. I haven't figured out yet. So far that's what's going in there. I would like to put like vinegars and shit in there, but I didn't. And you got another drawer underneath where you can just put some more stuff. I just put mason jars in there for right now. On this side of the boat, is our pantry. It's pretty full. And I tried to narrow it down to like pastas and grains, baking, and then just cooking like, cans of soup, salsa, whatever, all in there. And it all seems to hold up pretty well. Nothing seems to, this thing hasn't even been opened yet, and we've been on some pretty heavy healing, but it seems to do the job, and it's a lot of storage. More storage down here. This was Moosley's area for cat litter box, but we changed it. Now it's just canned goods, rice, from extra storage that it used to be under the table. I moved it and put his cat box under the table. From there on, we have the bosun's bunk. We put all our tools and just extra stuff. Drill, grinder, nuts and bolts, you name it, it's there. Odds and ends, the rig bag, whatever we need, it's in there. What we use the most. Let's see, we have linens, and then a wet locker, which we have in rain gear, winter gear. And what's neat is that there's even more storage underneath on the bottom of the locker. Usually we I don't really have much stuff to put in there. On this side of the boat, port side, we have this, We have the sewing machine, the cat box, you know, just newspaper and magazines and stuff, kind of wherever we can put where it won't be in the way. In this cabinet, we have, for right now, since I don't have space in the pantry, I got soups and freeze-dried food and the tea, coffee, energy, but you know, superfood powder, and yeah, just usually this is a tea and coffee cabinet. In this cabinet used to be the gun cabinet. Now it is games and candles and emergency lighting. Yeah.
What about the libraries on board?
Yeah, so behind here is the library. So let's take down one side. I don't have enough stuff in it right now to kind of keep everything kind of tidy and contained. We kind of downsized in our books and stuff. But yeah, we have, you know, Don Casey, we got, you know, sailing stuff, yoga, nature, foraging stuff, French language, medical, you name it, it's in the library. Bunch of magazines, you know, all our, you know, just stuff that we need for living here, that you would need in general, like all your odds and ends. Yeah, and we have this leak cloth up just because, you know, anything that's small that doesn't quite, like a smaller book or some kind of odder end that's just not quite lining up with the fiddle, could easily just fall out when you're healing over. So the leak cloth kind of keeps everything contained. Underneath where I'm sitting is two compartments, two large compartments. There's one over here and then one under here, and there's one under here. That's extra, like, you know, paint, bosun supplies, things that we don't use as often. And then under me is, you know, like sail repair, extra steering equipment, you know, stuff like that, just odds and ends that we don't quite use often, but it's on the boat. And then under here is, for quick grab, is anything that deals with the engine, you know, oil, ATF, diapers. When I mean diapers, I mean oil zorbs, tools and stuff that are for purely just the engine. And yeah, it all stays pretty contained. We even back here have like a little hidey spot for an extra cushion, so this could be made into a bunk. So usually if we have people sleeping over, they sleep over here or they sleep on the other side. This other side can pull out to like almost be like a double. It'll pull all the way out to here, which is pretty neat. Underneath this seat, we have, you know, an emergency anchor, fishing gear, our harnesses, and under here is just like a storm anchor, which is like a parachute for slowing the boat down and in heavier weather. And then we got our shoes, like extra shoes, rain boots, stuff like that under this compartment. It's all easily grabbable. We don't have to, you know, look for it because we know where it is. Everything has a place and every place has a thing. So, yeah, that's pretty much this area. Going over here.
Do the quarter berth with the library or no? Okay.
Over here we have the head, which I usually like the galley sink. It has a seacock. I shut it down when we're sailing because water starts pooling in the sink. And then you just gotta use hand sanitizer for the sail. We got storage in here, which is usually like medical vitamins, soap, oils, you know, you name it, it's in here. Yeah. And then in this one, it's just, you know, extra odds and ends, extra bottles for pee storage, and, you know, bathing stuff, extra linens, you know, that kind of stuff. Under here is toilet paper. And then underneath the toilet is another little storage cubby that we made, and we just have a bunch of oils under there, like lavender, you know, patchouli, you know, that kind of stuff.
Girly oils.
Girly oils. Yeah, and you know, we got 2 lights. We got a red light, and we have a non-electrical light, a Lucy light, just in case. So everything is kind of secured to the boat in a way. This is secured by Velcro. This is secured by stickies, Velcro, you know, suction cups. You know, it hasn't moved yet, so we'll see how long it lasts. So far, so good. It's been here for most of this stuff's been in here for over a couple of years. Other stuff's been, I just like Velcroed this. Usually it went into the cabinet, but it's been holding tight. So, yeah. We got ventilation up here, ventilation right here. We closed the window when we're sailing, but otherwise there's still ventilation coming in unless we take the door raids off. So this is a new thing that we put up to keep the mosquitoes away, because usually we wind up staying up all night chasing mosquitoes. So we put a bug net up. It's got magnets and Velcro. But when the rest of the boat is littered with mosquitoes, at least this area is kind of contained, or, you know, prevents mosquitoes and bugs from coming in here too much. So secured. So this is the v-berth. We have more storage under the bunk. The water tank is also under the bunk, which causes condensation to happen under the cushions. And so under the cushions, we have this thing called hypervent. It's like, you would see it in roofing, but it doesn't, you know, it kind of keeps the cushions dry. It doesn't really prevent condensation from happening underneath the cushions. So you usually got to go up and mop the excess water out before it deteriorates your cushions. So this is Adam's side, my side. We kind of create little storage ideas with, like, you know, making pockets, tool belt, just to hold more things, more books and stuff from running amok when we're sailing, clothing, you know, hiking, just, you know, extra pillows for whatever. Everything is kind of Velcroed down. That's Velcroed down. This is Velcroed down. More storage in here, just odds and ends. And then, yeah, Adam's got like drawers. He's got more storage on this side. And then we have a bigger locker for hanging nicer stuff. And then also too, underneath that locker is another cubby where, like, I think we have a wetsuit and some diving gear and stuff. More storage under here. So we got quite a bit of storage. Not a lot of it's used fully. And like under the bunk here, I got storage in here. Adam's got storage in here. But the 2 storage compartments going further up basically have nothing in them, just to save weight. Try to keep the weight on the bow as less as possible, because the bow is already heavy. In here is the anchor locker.
You just click on that light on the port side there. It's a push button. There we go.
It's pretty big. It can probably hold a lot more stuff, or we can make it more practical for storage ideas. Jesus. So I mean, yeah,
Pretty big is right.
Adam can fit in there pretty comfortably. So it's a pretty...
When I really piss off Morgan, this becomes my bunk.
Yeah.
Not really. Just don't piss off Morgan. Wait.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is the boat where we live and hang out, and it's pretty simple. We try not to make it too complicated, and we try to, if we get something, we try to get rid of something. That way we don't take up too much space. Right now we're really full of food, so we're slowly getting that down, dwindling that down. We kind of had to freak out over the quarantine of the COVID virus because we weren't sure if we'd be quarantined, so we stocked up on food. We also didn't know, if we want to go to Canada. We don't want to spend too much money because Canada's taxes are high for food, so we wanted to be ready for that as well. So yeah, we're pretty stocked, trying to get the weight down off the boat with all the canned goods. So other than that, we have a 60-gallon tank here and a 60-gallon tank on the floor for fresh water. We can do quick maybe baths, or maybe showers, or lather up with salt water and then rinse off with fresh water as much as possible. We don't use as much, or be as efficient as possible with water. When you're washing dishes, use as much water as possible. Other than that, we got a pretty good amount of water. Pretty good amount of storage on the boat. So it's pretty good boat. Storage, kind of like the spot. You walk down below, you always kind of me and Adam, we walk down below. How we went from our 50-30 to this boat. That box. Pretty good ventilation too. We got a hatch up here to either escape or bring air into the boat. Ventilation here. We got ventilation all over the boat. It's pretty good. All these windows open except for the galley. So that's really, really nice. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. We got another hatch right here for more ventilation or another escape route. Yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Why don't you come up on deck? I'll show you around. Well, here's the helm. So it's the wheel that's connected to the rudder to steer the boat. To make the boat go, there's two general positions. There's the helmsperson and the deckhand. Helmsperson is kind of tied up back here with the helm, but also with the navigation and communications. We've got our VHF radio. We've got compass in the binnacle here, and we've got our autopilot, and we've got our chart plotter. But this thing's getting warmed up right now, so we'll just come back to that in a minute. Let it load in its charts. Well, actually that went pretty quick. We'll stay right here. So this chart plotter, you pinch it just like your phone, zoom out, and then it shows, where our boat is, that triangle, where we drop the anchor, a radius that I had set. It has deep water, depth, bottom, what it's made out of, like rock or mud, landmarks, and so it's our nav TV. It also has radar. Boom, spinning up. So the radar is warming up right now. In a few seconds it should give us a radar picture. I might just look like a bunch of blobs to the untrained eye, but when you're in the fog or the dark, it shows there's something out there. You know, all these blobs is a thing. And so if you're not expecting a thing out there, if it's not on the chart, you might think that that is a boat. I mean, get a view of what's looking around here. I mean, it's foggy right now. Times like these, I'd be desperate to know if there was something out there that, you know, I could collide with. And so, you know what, I mean, every boat's got different rules, I guess, but on our boat, on TRAUMEREI, the person at the helm makes the sail calls. And so, you know, whether it's me or Morgan back here, we tell the deckhand what to do because we formulated a plan based on, you know, what, you know, other vessel traffic and where we're going and what, you know, you make the plan and then you make the deckhand do the work. And we can switch positions anytime. But back here's the boss. But for the deckhand, you're doing all the fun stuff because you get to run around the boat doing the sail handling. You get to be up here. Here's the controls for our mainsail. You haul the green, and that brings our traveler to starboard. Haul the red, brings it to port. You know, we've got this crank here to haul in the main sheet.
Can you explain what the main sheet and the traveler do?
Sure.
Per se?
Sure. Well, that controls the boom to our mainsail right here. And so, you know, the traveler pulls the boom over to one side, and then the sheet both pulls that boom down tight, but also, if you let it out, lets that boom out. And so that controls the angle of the sail when it comes to its angle of attack to the wind. You know, if the boat is going downwind, you need to sheet everything out, and as you're going upwind, you need to pull everything tight. Talking about sails, so we've got the headsail, the jib, which is the one up front. You know, you control it here with your jib sheets, and we've got a furler in hull. So that takes the sail in or lets it out. Let's go forward. Let's look at sails. Go with me, Morgan. So we're at anchor right now, so you're not sailing. But underneath that sail cover right there is our mainsail. And you see here's our traveler, the red and green we were hauling on earlier. And then here's the sheet. And then here at the mast is halyards. We used to raise the sail and lower the sail. But you can't just walk by this thing. It's our porta-boat. It's an experiment. Morgan got really excited about porta-boats, and so we found one used and bought it. And because it folds up, it's like origami. It folds into this thing, it looks like a surfboard. And then you unfold it, and you put in the bench seats, and then you got yourself a 10-foot dinghy. You know, I refuse to let our bungee stay in Robin Hood. I want to take it with us, so now we've got 2 dinghies. Still working that out. It's an experiment. Come forward, look at sails. And so this boat is cutter rig, which means we've got 2 headsails. And so we've got in this bag here is, you know, our staysail. And then here, rolled right up, is our jib, our Genoa. And so you can, you know, spin it in, and that way you don't got to send anybody up forward to take in your sail. You can do it all from the cockpit. I'm trying to think about what else I want to talk about on deck. How about, we missed some things, like, we've got all these, you know, this is our chimney for our wood stove, and here's our cowl vents for, you know, letting, you know, a breeze get down below for ventilation. And all stuff to catch sheets on with our jib.
And then that's the water
Morgan's
intake.
like, yeah, she wants to show us show you all the water fill. That's for our forward tank. That's how we get the water into the tank. And then here's the cap for the mid tank for filling.
And then the fuel's on the other side.
Yeah, fuel's on the other side, just like this one, but on the other side. Before we go down below, I want to show off the solar panels. And so we've got two 100-watt solar panels, and that provides us the electricity we need to fill the batteries to run our electrical systems. So to get the power in the batteries, for dockside, we can plug into shore. If we're underway, it's just the solar panels, and then we've got the alternator on the engine, which also will fill the batteries. And this, we've got it bolted to our brand new Dodger. Morgan and I built this just before we left. We've got this fiberglass top that she and I built, track, and then all new windows. And these things are sweet, and so because they're nice and clear, and so you can kind of be behind them out of the weather and still be able to see land and boats through them. Alright. So now we're back in the cockpit. This is a pretty full cockpit. It's a little more full than is ideal. Let's be honest. There's a lot of things here, but we do like having our garden. We've got our mint plant growing. We've got a full-size trash can like you'd find in your home, which is great.
Doesn't stink up the boat, it stays outside.
Yeah, keep it outside, keep all the trash outside. We've got jugs of water, which, that's just fresh water. We can use that for cleaning or washing stuff, or, keeping our tanks topped off if we wanted the extra water. And here, we've got another anchor rod. We got chain and rope.
For the anchors.
We carry a bunch of anchors nowadays, and there's no reason to have anchors without anything to tie them to. So we've got anchor rod on deck. A little bit about some of the boat systems that keep us comfortable on board. A lot of folks ask, how do you survive the Maine winter? Living with the snowstorms and the nor'easters and the ice falling from the sky. Well, it's actually really comfortable because we've got heating systems. First, we've got our wood stove, and this lovely little cubic mini here. It only fits these little 7.5-inch sticks, so it's just a little baby, but boy, does it make it comfortable in here. The atmosphere and the dry heat, it's lovely. And then up here, this is this rope right here is it's our dryer, and so you throw your wet clothes up there, and then the heat from the wood stove rises and dries it out. Good drying heat. But maybe you don't want to make a fire because you just want heat right now. Well, we've got a S-bar heater, which is kind of like the Mercedes-Benz of heat systems. Here's our controller right here, and you click through, and then you can turn on the heat on board. And this thing, it's a diesel furnace that lives in our lazarette, and it draws its fuel right from the same fuel source as our engine. And then this thing kicks on, and then it blows hot air. We've ducted these vents throughout the boat, and it's like a hair dryer. It just blows hot air at you, and that's pretty nice. And then let's go check this out. So another thing that makes the boat a little more comfortable is we have this pressurized water. I'll show you. Hear that pump? That's our under sink monster. This thing kicks on. So way back here, we have our pump, and then we've got our tank. And so when that tank pressure falls down, the pump kicks on, and so we've got pressurized water. Now you're probably not asking yourself, but I'll explain it anyway. Hey Adam, How do you know how much power your batteries have? I'll answer that. Come on over. And so here's our charge controller and our battery monitor. And so it says right now we're taking in 2.1 amps of power. Not too bad in the fog. And so this thing tells me how much power is going in, and it tells me the status of the batteries. Right now we are 90%. That's pretty normal. Now you've got the outlets. These look like your AC outlets at home. We've got AC on board, but only when we're plugged into the shore. We don't have an inverter on board. It's not very expensive. It's not very hard to put in, but we purposefully didn't have the inverter on board because we just don't want to have another thing to be drawing off the batteries. As soon as you've got AC power, you start getting appliances. You plug in your blender, or you plug in your toaster oven, or whatever, and then we've just got more and more demand on the batteries. So we just go ahead and cut that off right at the source and say we've got 12 volt off the solar panels, unless we're plugged into shore power. If we live in dockside, like in the winter time, whole different story. Then we'll run our AC power. And so, to the untrained eye, this looks like some stairs. But it's more than that. It's the access to our engine. Well, you can get in there on the port and starboard lazarettes too, but this is the quickest way.
Lucy.
Now, Lizzie likes to use every opportunity he can to go into the engine room, and so we'll have to keep the kitty out. What you're looking at here is a fine example of a Perkins 4108. I don't know, not much to say here except for the V drive, which means that the belts are facing aft. So it's like the engine's in here backwards, right? We've got an engine and then a transmission, and that transmission is taking that power, putting it down and back to the shaft, to the propeller. You know, something we picked up somewhere along the way, but we always mark our filters with a date, because then we know when last time they got changed. You know, we're constantly taking a look at our engine condition and maintenance, because you know, even though this is the auxiliary to the sails, it's also how we get in and out of harbor, on and off of docks, and this is how we power the boat when there's no wind and we got somewhere to be. And so got to keep the engine going. In this space too is way back in there. No way you can see that, but
Yeah,
maybe. Can? Awesome. So that's our water heater. Big stainless steel drum. And you'll probably have to take my word for it, but on the aft side of the engine, we've got that compressor pump for the refrigerator. You see this little K&N filter. That's like a homemade job. Like what comes stock on the Perkins is this thing that doesn't really filter air. It's kind of, I mean, like if a bird was like let loose in your engine room, it would probably keep the bird out of your engine. But like particles, stuff that I don't want in my air intake, it doesn't do such a good job filtering out. So I put a real filter on there. You know, it looks a little janky because you know, I had to pop a hole and glue in a fitting so that I could do the you know, the whatever ventilation. Yeah, I don't know, engine. What else you want to see?